Hello, and welcome to the Oracle Report for the month of December 2025. So happy to have you here. Thank you if you're returning and tuning in, and welcome if this is your first time. So I offer this Oracle Report every month towards the end of the month, the prior month, to bring forth different wisdoms, information, guidance, messages that will support you so that you can walk through the month with as much alignment as possible and enjoy the dance of your life. So these messages I gather from several different sources, usually through dreams, different themes that show up in readings, um, sometimes astrology, and channeling. So I welcome you to listen with an open heart, an open mind, and with curiosity and lightness. There's nothing here that you have to be forced to aligned to, but if something resonates, see how it might unfold for you and support you. Um, it's also a benefit at times to go back and listen to past oracle reports. The different energies that come up, while they do apply to the month, there are the collective wisdoms of the month. Um, there are timeless teachings in every single oracle report. You can, if you have the time, just to have something playing in the background, I invite you to use your intuition and choose one and see what messages are in there for you. Um, so I start by sharing different collective themes that have come forward that the guides are encouraging to be shared for the energetic of the month coming up, so December today. And we usually finish with live mini readings. So if you're able to be present, you're listening to this sometime, and you're able to join us for a future Oracle report, you have an opportunity to receive a free mini reading. And you would join us on Sacred Lights. That's how you can tune in live. So I also choose a card for the collective, and I typically, for the time being, have been sharing that right at the beginning. Now I'll go into the themes. Um, yeah, and I always like to remind you that as you're receiving these messages, just allow yourself to receive what resonates and let go of the rest. Some of it may come back to you at a later time and make sense, and then other pieces might not. Some pieces might really align for you for 1 month, and then other pieces, maybe they don't, or maybe you see them more out in the world or in others, but they're all intended to help you navigate. So, in collective messages, they do apply to us all, but it's very unique ways. Um, and then I also like to remind you that messages are often, because they're coming from the spirit realms, which are extra dimensional. It's not typically, as I've seen it, just one meaning in a message. They're usually quite layered. And it's for each of us to decide, how much one layer applies to us or not. But I say this so that you're open. And when you hear the messages, it's not just, oh, I know what that means, and then you leave it there, but allow yourself to be open to the unfolding of it or a different layer of the message. So it might be literal in one sense, but then also um, kind of figurative or like a play on words, and it shows up that way. Okay, so let's get started. Today I'm working with the Lightworker Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild. And we'll start by pulling a card. Okay. So eternal now. And just show you here. Okay, and for those of you who don't know, I always will post in Sacred Lights and sometimes to my mailing list as well, the full description of the card. And for these cards, for a lot of Fairchilds, the explanations tend to be a little bit longer. There's a healing process that's included, and I'm not going to read the entire piece today. There's an invocation with these cards. But if you want to kind of sit with it a little bit deeper, see what else emerges for you later, I encourage you to join on Sacred Lights or sign up for my mailing list or both. And you can read through the full description there. So, Eternal Now. Within you is great strength and courage. However, just because you can manage to keep going when you are drained or stressed, it doesn't mean you have to do so. You are encouraged by your higher guidance to request assistance and letting go of tension within your mind and body. You will gain clarity, energy, and strength through this release, and perhaps even see things in a new and more optimistic light. Shifting into a more present, relaxed, and enjoyable state of being will help you overcome the past and successfully create your future. I think there's probably not a person on earth who doesn't need to hear that message right now. With the intensity in our world and some of the constructs that are shifting and breaking down, this is a really important orientation, a vibrational orientation as we move forward. And it's each one of our jobs to do this work, to orient to that, which is here in the present moment, which is, to say that we're accessing our strength and our courage coming from the heart, which is, about core, love, heart, and it's where we find our center. Present moment also where we find our center. And there's such a, for most folks, for most people around the world, certain places more than others, but this value on pushing and striving and keep going and systems that are in place that really aren't in service to our wholeness, to our healing, to our wellness, to um, that being in alignment with our deeper hearts. And that's starting to shift because we're all understanding that that's an issue. So we are working with it to shift and develop. And it can be difficult when we're in between. There's no new structures there to help us. And we kind of have to um, do a lot of that work ourselves first to say, okay, well, I'm going to choose not to do this thing that is creating more drain and more stress in my life. Or we're going to find like a different limit, stretch it a little bit, because yeah, we do have to show up to certain things. We have certain responsibilities, and there's a way to work with it that helps to start to transform those structures within our world so that they can be more wholesome, more true, more um, community based and healthy for all. Okay, we'll read a little bit more before I go into the themes. Dear one, have your thoughts become trapped in the pain of the past? Have they been drifting towards possible futures? If too much of your energy is pulled away from the present moment, you diminish the power you have to create what your heart desires. Creation doesn't happen in the past or in the future. It happens in the here and now by the choices you make in each moment. Even now, in reading this message, you are choosing to be present, to bring your energy into the eternal now, stimulating the law of attraction into action as you relax in this moment, trusting that the past is over and the future shall be truly wonderful. You can more easily energize your dreams, visions, and heartfelt desires. The universe believes that you are deserving of a spiritual gift. To accept the gift in whatever form it takes, you will need to be present, to have enough stillness of mind to recognize it. You'll need to have enough inner peace to accept it, to take it inside where it can nourish, inspire, and heal you. The form of this gift will be perfect for you, and the way that it comes shall be perfect too. It is being orchestrated by divine timing now. It will assist you to take the next step on your soul journey successfully. Okay, so I'll pause there. And then if you want to read on, just tune into Sacred Lights, and the full card description will be there. But okay, see if there's anything else that wants to be shared about those pieces. Being in the present moment, receiving. Yes, so one of the themes that came through was talking a lot about finding our inner peace kind of amongst the extremes and the turmoils, even just in energy, even if we're not talking about any of the physical things that are happening to us or to the collective. Energetically, there are these extremes, these highs and lows, and there are some very intense challenges as we're kind of growing, learning, and coming up against different darknesses that have been, or I don't necessarily like the word darknesses, but um, abuses and sufferings and mental distortions, emotional distortions that have allowed people to be out of alignment with truth and love. Those are becoming more apparent, and as they do, even though they've been here for many years, and maybe we didn't fully understand the extent of them, right now we can see them. Um, and it is a lot to witness all at once. And that's something important to recognize so that we don't allow our own presence, our connection with the divine, with our heart and our peace, to be influenced by that and kind of take us down. Um, So there's been a buildup over many, many years. It's not just us here who are alive now, but these energies that have been kind of going against the current of life. And this was necessary to transform for all of creation to grow, for those who chose to incarnate to grow. But now it's time for those to rise to the surface. And if you're here on Earth, then you have the tools and the capacity and a special purpose in this time in history. So extra attention has been called, through readings and channelings to the real importance of us anchoring into the present moment and um, finding our peace, cultivating it, like we're looking at what nourishes us, what cultivates peace in our life, so that we can be in alignment, so that we can be with the flow and receive the gifts that are meant for us and give the gifts that we are meant to give. And, I always think about how when we put too much energy into the past, this creates oftentimes like a depression in our system in one way or another. And if we're putting too much energy into the future, this often creates the energy of anxiety. And both, when they're not in balance, because of course it's really important to go back to the past, it's really important to look at our future. But we do that from the center, which is our heart, which is the connection to the inner peace, which is eternal, the connection to our light. And when we put too much time on either side, it can be really difficult to stay within our center as we're viewing and know, really that's what guides us. Okay, this is the appropriate amount of time we need to give to the past right now in our life. This is the appropriate amount of time we need to give to our future right now. Um, okay, so moving on, let's talk about some of these pieces that have come forward for December. Okay, so first, one of the messages that came through was about the winds of change and about how these aren't just isolated to December, but this has been kind of developing maybe in November, maybe a bit of October as well. And I can see it stretches through December, it stretches into January a little bit, and then towards the end of December, there might be some kind of either like an add-on to a change that's already happened, or if you haven't experienced any changes personally, there might be a little bit of a shift because there's a new energy coming in on the wind, they say, that starts to kind of loosen up some of the stuck energies in our system. And then, yeah, so there's also this message coming forward about um, kind of like an appreciation for the light. And this kind of makes sense. So here in the northern hemisphere in December, we're coming to the winter solstice, and this is the time of celebrating the return of the light as we come towards the end of December. And there were messages that connected to this kind of appreciating the light within us, that it never goes out, and that's something that we can revisit every year at this time. And there was this beautiful vision that I had yesterday, and visions from a few other folks that informed it, about how in life it's like we're traveling down the river of life, going through the waters of life. Water is what gives life, and we're flowing, and we have our inner fire, which is our soul, our spirit, and the vision was this fire just kind of floating through the water, but it was this, bright, the water wasn't putting out the fire. They were able to coexist together in harmony. And it was just a really striking vision for that reason, because you don't often see that. And one of the things that was around the fire in the vision is this kind of like a protective light. And one of the understandings I was receiving from that is the importance of protecting our light, like what nourishes our peace, our joy, what contributes to our peace of mind, what contributes to us coming back to our heart and back to our center. We need to really make sure that we are making choices that honor that, because again, that's the place from which we can make the most aligned decisions, from which we truly know how to stay in balance, right action, right responsibility. And it allows us to be in our fullness. It allows our light to shine bright. So a little bit of extra attention to that, and honoring the light that never goes out, even when it may seem at times that it has. And there was a really important message connected here about hope. And through these extremes, through these, the unearthing of the abuses and suffering at this time in our history, many folks are feeling kind of raw and vulnerable and overwhelmed. And then that takes us out of our, like a peaceful center, like the card was describing. We feel drained and stressed, and um, there was the collective importance to reigniting hope. And if you're not feeling that so much, I mean, I think we all do at times feel stressed, drained, maybe a little disconnected from our hope. But if your light is feeling strong, if you're feeling like, hey, I'm totally trusting the journey of life, things are going really well, I feel in alignment, I'm creating as I'm meant to be, I'm putting just the perfect amount of attention to the past and the future from my heart in the present moment from my light. If you're feeling strong, then this might be a call for you to be a part of relighting the hope for the collective. There are those who need to relight the fires at the solstice, and we do that through our honoring of the light, through our deep faith that the light never goes out, no matter what we experience. You know, the consciousness of peace and love and truth are always intact. And we're really here just as stewards of remembering, remembrance of that, of choosing it for ourselves and then contributing to that path being opened for those who struggle with it. If you're not feeling strong, you can choose to tap in. There will be an extra energy of reigniting hope, reigniting the connection with your light. And the more attention you give it with your awareness and with your consciousness, the greater it grows in you. But it is there, and you are held even when you're not putting your attention to it, even when you don't feel it. It grows too with your faith. So I would suggest if you're ever in a place where you feel hopeless or some version of that, just stating, that my light never goes out, hope is available to me always. And sometimes through those difficult, challenging experiences and extremes, and a really like facing the shadow, that we truly find the light, that we truly find the hope. I believe that's really what the point is. It takes us to those edges because then we reclaim it. We can't just reclaim it in our mind, but I want to say that part of reclaiming it can sometimes be just stating it over and over. It starts to feed that energy, even if you're not believing it, it guides you back in that direction. Um, okay. Okay, so along with this, there's also a message of the importance of checking in with friends and family and those that you love. Make sure everyone's doing okay and checking in with yourself, giving some spaciousness and you know, uh, allowing that space just to say like, hey friend, how you doing? I care about you. Hey self, how are you doing? I care about you. Um, so this is something that they were saying they were connecting to the almost like dampening of hope that we have just gone through. Um, that when we're not allowing ourselves the space to know where we're at, to be in kind of the present and just see what's here and what's true, um, then we're not able to feel the peace, the love that we always have access to, the truth, and how beautiful and important it can be for us to reflect that for each other. So, the importance of reflecting it by checking in with folks and letting them know you love them, expressing words of gratitude and care, and sharing that um, goodwill with each other. Okay. Anything else about that? And another piece that was involved with this is releasing pressure on ourselves. Pressure that we might have put there, that we might have accepted from our upbringing, pressure from society that is there in place on us. Like looking at again, well, I'm saying again because I imagine a lot of folks have looked at this already, but just looking at it, where might there be pressures on me that aren't actually in service to me being in alignment? Um, and can I release them? Because they're talking about like pressures that are in the mental field, in the emotional field, in the physical field too. But specifically, they're talking about mental, emotional field, different, like, I don't know, I have to act like this in this certain situation. I can't feel this, or um, I'm not smart enough if I don't think like this, or if I experience anxiety, or I'm not enlightened enough, or different sort of beliefs, as well as just like currents of energy from the collective about how we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to live, um, that are affecting our peace and putting unnecessary pressure on us. And they're saying that there are some things we can start to look at and release. And there's been a bit of like unearthing some shadow energy. And again, as we went into the dive of the darkness, reaching up solstice, those things have been shaken up. So there might be some things you're even seeing about yourself, like, oh, yeah, like I actually can choose peace in this moment. I can take a deep breath and regulate, and I don't have to be sinking into a place of fear or desperation or whatever it is, or hopelessness. Um, so there's some kind of way that we each can choose to release some of that extra pressure on ourselves without really having to do much of anything in the physical world. And the guidance was that the physical world will start to shift as well and catch up. Um, and there's another mention in this all just of leaning into allowing and trusting the journey of life and trusting that you're here for a reason. So you have everything you need to navigate this, and it is right within you. Okay. So also mention bear medicine has been coming forward, and that's not uncommon in my experience for this time of year as well. This bear represents time for reflection and rest, dream time, healing, looking at the subconscious and the shadows and working with them, bringing them to like a tangible, whole, healed experience. So, in particular, I felt Bear reminding us of something I've already spoken to about giving ourselves spaciousness so we can allow the truth to emerge, our love to emerge, really just sinking into our deep authenticity and what is really natural to us, which is like the goodness, and allowing ourselves to process everything else that doesn't seem to be in alignment with that, either in the world or in our lives or within us. Um, and the way to do this being through like going into the bear cave, going into the dark of winter, and really allowing ourselves and allowing others space to reflect, to rest. Bear was saying the words proper time for rest and reflection, and us checking in. And, especially I think for many folks with the holidays that are around December here, um, there's a lot of energy and a lot of gatherings and events and things to do. And that can be beautiful, that can be wonderful. And we have to make sure also that we balance it with the rest and the going into the cave. And that is an important medicine at this time of year. It's an important energetic to honor. And uh, I think that we might be doing more of that as time goes on. We maybe stretch it a little bit every year. We say, hey, we don't need to do this one extra party, or I don't need to have an extravagant party, or like what's really important about what we're doing here. or whatever holidays that we celebrate? And are we honoring the essence of what's important and not just getting kind of pulled and slashed around in the current of what maybe others or the collective has created as important for us to show up to? Um, and what are little ways that we can bring in the rest and reflection time because it's really needed this time of year. And Bear was reminding us, don't get distracted from how important that is to give yourself. And also, don't put too much pressure on yourself if you're feeling like, well, okay, I'm going to go to that party. Find a way. There's always a way, and your guides will help you. Ask them to give you some more time for reflection and rest if you feel like you must say yes to doing a lot of activity. Um, okay. Let's see here. So there's another message that came forward about the importance of this month in particular, kind of like some self-validation for our intuition and finding the clarity of our intuition through feeling rather than like opinion or appearances. Um, so again, I was having this vision of pieces of the collective that are kind of they look more matrix-like or a little bit mechanical or like there's just less like aliveness of light in them, and there's some, um, but less so. And we are sometimes having a distorted experience of what our truth really is because of these kind of collectives, the scaffoldings. And those scaffoldings are changing, and we all are a part of that and a part of what is being born um, for this next leg of humanity and of life on Earth and for Earth herself. And during this time, we will have eventually a more clear experience of our intuition. And we each have kind of a role to play in that aspect of the rebirth that's happening. And we can experience in this life, even though humanity as a whole is just like there will be more time for it to really come into a place of clarity with intuition that's just natural and normal to everyone. Yet we can still experience a high level of clarity with our intuition in this life if we um, one, feel the call, that usually indicates there's some purpose we have with developing that or owning it, different gifts from past lives, some reason that we're supposed to be working with it that is for the benefit of the collective and of ourself. Um, so the message here was in that development to come back to feeling rather than focusing on opinions, righteousness, and appearances. Like, are we looking for evidence underneath this, any desire to find truth or hear psychic messages or understand our intuition or just, navigate life? Um, are we looking for evidence of us being right? Like, oh, my opinion's right. That feels really different than looking for evidence of what's true and what's loving. And your intuition is always right. However, there are mm, kind of ways that we might interpret it that aren't necessarily right. They might be like a little bit twisted or just a little bit off balance. Or there might be something in our fields that distorts the information or changes it a little bit, but like the seed of it, the true, pure intuition piece, it is 100% accurate. And the feeling of that being right, it feels a little different than kind of like, oh, I was right. That's like more of the ego, the opinionated, the righteous, the objective that's looking at the appearances. It's like I think about um, people's lawns, and even to a certain extent, um, like the beauty industry and putting on makeup or like nail polish, and no judgment really, but I'm thinking of this like, all right, we could make our lawns look really green and vibrant, and that's the appearance of it. But when we use certain chemicals, when we don't allow the leaves to decompose and nourish the soil, um, that actually it's not healthy. So the appearance is, oh, everything is great, it looks lovely, right? But the deeper truth is that it's not that healthy, that we've kind of forced it into one expression that we value, which is, like green looking grass without any leaves anywhere, or, whatever it is. So in terms of our intuition, like the appearances would be kind of this like objective reality that, or not really objectifying reality, um, where we're more centered on these values that don't have substance. It's not that seed of truth, of love, of pure light. And it can feel more like egoic, like, okay, I need to be right here, or I need to prove something, or that it comes really from a place of not feeling secure and safe and in our light. And when we allow ourselves to, again, go back to our heart, find our peace, do what nourishes that in our life, it just comes naturally over time. And we can clearly see that seed of light of our intuition of what is actually true, what is actually based in love. So, guys are talking about an opportunity to explore this, an opportunity to lean into what feels right, to find our truth, to find, excuse me, to find truth and love and our right purpose. And then from this place, also, we can offer like loving counsel to others and ourselves. We can find the the right actions, the right ways of being. There will be more balance in the collective and in our relationships as we're able to find this in ourselves. And there's some greater opportunity for that this month. Like really leaning into how you are right, but you're right based on that light, that seed of intuition in you. And it's always there in what you see, regardless of how clear it is or how much you're able to express it. It's there. Believing that, cultivating it, allow it to reveal itself and guide you so that you're coming from a place of that love and truth and contributing to that within our collective. Um, so there was a recommendation to pay attention to potential shifts with this in your life for the month of December. Um, yeah, like there could be situations that come up that challenge you even with this, like someone saying, for example, your feeling about something or even your perspective about something is wrong. And you not maybe getting triggered by that, but being able to come back to a place of like, okay, well, let me be curious about that. Let me check in and really make sure that I'm connected to my seed of intuition, that light that's in me, the purity of it. And you do that through a feeling way, a little less from a thinking way. Because not that, I mean, personally, I think that thinking can be helpful and an important component of that navigation and understanding and clarity, but we've leaned too far in that direction. And I think it gets us out of our other senses and ways of perceiving information. So leaning into the feeling and then finding that seed of truth. And maybe you recognize, oh, no, like, even though they're challenging that, or this situation is coming up that's challenging that, I'm pretty clear. And I don't think that's coming from a place of needing to be right. It's coming from a place of peace and centeredness. I don't feel this like tension and ego wrapped in it. I feel just like a calm, this is it. It's like that's where you find that purity of truth. And then in that circumstance, that finding that within yourself will guide you. And okay, well, is this a situation where I'm able to express and speak that to this person that brought forward the challenge? Or is it a situation that if I did that, it would kind of cause more discordance, either for me or another? Maybe it feels kind of too tender, your relationship with that truth. Um, so you don't really want to bring it forward, even though you know it. You have to let it kind of build up inside you first. Or maybe you know that if you brought it forward to them, they wouldn't be able to hold it. It's like a dimension they can't see on. And this is like a precious truth. So it would be almost like it would be in disservice to offer it up to them. And then there could be a situation where you bringing that forward brought this really beautiful connection with that person and like an unfolding intimacy or like a new way to experience joy together. Or maybe you stay in like differing views, but you're able to like respect and appreciate each other. And there are all these different wisdoms that can develop from this for them, for you, and those ripple out into the greater collective. And we all can do that work this month. So stay open to where that might be showing up for you, and don't give up on your intuition, and give yourself the spaciousness to tune in and see what's really there and find that light inside you that's guiding you, that purity of your intuition. Okie dokie. What else do we have here? All right, yeah, just a couple more messages. Um, there's one piece here that kind of connects to going into the darkness of this time of year, the return to the light. And a bit of what I was just sharing, that there's a thread that kind of weaves through this all about how on Earth we're kind of diving into forgetfulness. And in a sense, that's like driving in the complete dark. So we're here navigating on Earth. The light is what is us, what is natural to us. And we're going through this experience that is almost like the opposite of true. We go into this forgetting because it, our eternal light, it wouldn't really take this experience too seriously if we had all of our remembering intact. And the guides wanted to remind that they can be like your eyes because they're still there in the light. They can see more than we can hear. And there's just this reminder that, hey, as your guides, your spiritual guides, we're here for you to support you and be your eyes. And also, you're the one who's in the dark and who's experiencing that. So you get to direct as well, and to keep that communication line open with them. And that's what their job is as your guide, to kind of have that higher perspective and make sure that you stay on track and work with you. And but you're leading. And sometimes we forget that. We think, oh, okay, well, they're just, my guides are they're doing all the work. It's like actually you're doing all the work. And it's your light and your heart that guides you. So this, as you're talking about giving yourself the spaciousness to find that fire within, to find that pure essence of your light and your intuition that's within, that's not um, adulterated by anything, it's there inside everyone. And this acts as our guidance and our compass here in the dark. And we're actually able, over our lifetime, to allow more of that to be here and present. And we all go through different journeys of diving into the dark and finding our light and making it bright and bright and bright and bright within the waters of life, brighter and brighter and brighter. And we'll go back to the message before. So no matter what we go through, that light is always there. And the guides want to support you as your eyes here on Earth. Um, okay. They were also saying, in terms of like the relationship with our guides, um, that there's this kind of collective wisdom that wanted to come through about how we can learn about like anything from anywhere. And we can, there's wisdom in every situation, and leaning into um, the wisdom of not taking things personally and just seeing what life wants to show you instead of getting too caught up in, say, the suffering of situations that come forward, or suffering about others' choices or the state of the world. And how can we stay in our place of peace where our consciousness of love and peace and truth is intact, our light is intact, and we've found that, and we protect it. And then we're able to be in that place of calm, not the overwhelm, not the stress, not the drained. We know how to navigate, and we are filled up. And then from there, it's like no matter what comes to us, it's us in our response to it that decides to transmute all experience into good. So we can find the wisdom, find the spiritual learning, find the light because we found it in ourselves in all situations, and say, like, I'm claiming that. That's what I'm choosing through my response. And you really can only choose that when you come back to yourself first. Um, Another little, just a phrase that I heard kind of connects to everything I've said so far, but everything you want, you already have. Or they said, everything you all want, you already have. So again, we go through this experience in life of forgetting, but it's all within you. You already have all that you want. And in this, they also added a little message of uh, release, miracles, shifts being possible in this month or surrounding this month and coming forward through our remembrance of that it's there, even when we're not experiencing it. Our deepest desires, our deepest want is for our own light. It's for connection with love and truth and embodying that, enjoying the journey of that. Right. I think that is it for today. Yes. So thank you so much for joining. Honored and grateful that you listened. And I hope that there is support and wisdom contained within this Oracle report that will guide and align and uplift you in the month of December and allow you to be a vessel of that for others. If there's anything that stood out to you, you have questions, I always love hearing from folks, so feel free to reach out. You can do that through YouTube, through Sacred Lights, through email or Instagram. And I just ask that if you enjoyed this, would you help us out by liking and subscribing both to the YouTube Angela Soul Rose channel and also the Sacred Lights channel. So this video is posted on both. Okay, happy December, happy solstice, honoring the light within you, and I'll see you in January. Blessings.